Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. I don't want to really delay any longer because I don't really think that my training session is going to go long. It's just I don't think it's going to be extra short either. Um, Man, we had a great regional manager call today with Barry Clarkson. It was absolutely, hang on one second. I thought we had a question pop up on there. So if somebody asks a question, if you want to send it, or if you want to text me, that's fine. But we had a great regional manager call today with Barry Clarkson, and I'm gonna tell you what, the guys, right now with this, Equus Financials exploding. We're in the best growth months of the year. I was texting back and forth with Mike Hall this afternoon. And Mike was just, he was blowing me away with what's going on in his organization. So for those of you guys that are part of Mike Hall's organization, Trustworthy, I'm just telling you, y'all have got it going on. Daniel McCrae, you've got it going on, brother. Maxwell Akinsinwa, who was the guest this morning on the Monday morning kickoff call, you did a fantastic job, Maxwell. And I'm very excited for you, excited about the agency that you're building. And I saw via Facebook, I saw your superstar, Shirley Clark. I saw her head down to Atlanta. As a matter of fact, Mike mentioned her today in his text. Saw her heading down to Atlanta to get some ETC time down there this past Friday. And obviously their special guest was Barry Clarkson. So I thought that was a great decision. I gravitate to people that gravitate toward association. I think association is huge. So tonight, what I want to do, and I do want to encourage questions. I've got my cell phone here. Most of you guys, you have my cell phone number, or you can type questions on the whatever this is called, the Zoom, and so let's start with this. Okay, and what I want to do is I want to get into the weeds a little bit. Hang on, let's see this. Okay, here's the question. Thanks, Gabe. How do you initially find people to recruit for your team building? Okay, zip recruit. Okay, good question, Gabe. I'll actually cover that. So just give me just a few minutes, but great question. Gabe's question, and I want to clarify, is how do you find people? Do you zip recruiter? Is it cold market, warm market? Is it licensed? Is it non-licensed? Great question. So we'll get to that. So as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, great question, Gabe. You know, I have kind of down here. I want to kind of go through different phases of your growth business. You know, the number one growth phase is sales manager. It's where we hire somebody, and if somebody joins Equus Financial because they see it as a business opportunity versus a personal sales, insurance sales opportunity, there's a really good chance that with them having a desire to build an agency, there's a really good chance that we can get them to sales manager in their first or second month. And what sales manager is 3 total writers, including you. So it could be you and two of your friends that write business and combine to do $12,000 in issue paid. Once you do that, you get a major comp increase. If you start off at 70%, you're going to go from 70 to 80%. And so it's a pretty awesome deal to hit sales manager. But sales manager, it is the fundamental building block of everything. I love how Mike Hall actually teaches it as the fundamental building block. And so I want to stay consistent because I think that keeps everything consistent. Because if you can go sales manager once, I think you can go sales manager 2, 3, 4 times in width and going sales manager 2, 3, 4 times, you're going to build a regional managership, and you're actually going to start duplicating yourself, not only on the personal sales side, but you're going to start duplicating yourself on the business building side as well. And so, number one thing that you better have if you're going to build an agency, because I can't help but think as many people that are plugging into this Zoom meeting, you got to have desire. You got to have B quadrant desire. Don't confuse B quadrant desire with S quadrant desire. You know what? There's some people that your whole desire right now is to do nothing but make phone calls, go sit down with people and make sales. Go sit down with people and make sales. And yes, the income you make is self-driven. It's temporary. You have to go out there and do the same activity over and over again. But some of you guys, you're at a point in your life where you're making more money than you ever thought you would make. And you know what? Maybe right now you just need to go out there and do that. So am I trying to headlock those people and trying to get them to stop selling in order to build? No, I'm not trying. I don't want to headlock those people at all. What I want to deal with people that have a desire to build. In other words, if I have to headlock them to do anything, I need to headlock them to go make some sales. Because if you're going to be successful at building, you got to go make some sales. And so do y'all see the difference in that? I hope you do, because that should be a fundamental. Every time I teach building, that should be a fundamental truth in who I'm actually teaching. Because sometimes I get blamed, and all builders get blamed, for trying to teach people or trying to motivate salespeople in order to go build. Do I think salespeople should at least engage in a little bit of building? Absolutely. I think it's just smart, especially if you develop a skill to sell. Because if you develop a skill to sell and you're making good money, you know, I think if you just open your eyes, I think there's probably a lot of people that would love to do what you do, you know. So anyway, I'll deal with that on another topic, but I'm not trying to headlock salespeople and trying to make them go build. I don't want, if they don't have any desire to enter into the B quadrant, I don't want them in the B quadrant. Okay. Now, man, I'm going to pause after I say that, because again, that's strong, but I'm telling you guys, that's how I feel. I'd just as soon not do anything as I would trying to talk somebody into building an agency. Okay? Okay, period. So, number one, if you're going to build an agency, you better have a big desire for the result that building an agency produces, because building an agency will test your fanny. Building an agency will require everything you have, and even a little bit more than what you don't have. Because if you're going to build an agency and you're going to have that desire, you better have a work ethic. In other words, and again, work ethic. Does that mean my personal sales? No. No, I'm not talking about your personal sales. Your personal sales are a given. Your personal sales are 4, 5, 6 apps a week. Listen, I get it. I know what work goes into that. You're making phone calls on Saturday morning. You go out there and run 8, 9 appointments on Monday and Tuesday, and you write your 5 apps. And okay, I get that. That's not that hard. Okay, as my coach in junior high would say, you're not going to get a cookie for that. It's not that hard. Or I think he would ask us, "Do you want a cookie for that?" It used to make me so mad, because I thought, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're offering a cookie, I guess I'll take it. And so number one is a desire to work in the B quadrant. Number two is actual work ethic in the B quadrant. How many interviews are you doing on a weekly basis? How many new unique writers do you have in your organization over the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? See, I mean, if you're going to be in the B quadrant, at least be willing to interrogate your reality in the B quadrant, because what we're going to eventually talk about here tonight is qualifying for an equity bonus that right now is paying out a little over $10,000 a month. This month is projected to pay out actually a little over $12,000. That's first tier equity bonus. So number one is a desire. Number two is work ethic. Number three, you better have commitment to the process, buddy, because building anything is not going to happen overnight. Building anything worthwhile is not going to happen like that. It really is something that you commit to long term. Short term, we can learn how to go make a sale and we can go duplicate that, and that's short term, make money. And listen, in our industry, for our field underwriters, man, you can make a ton of money. You know, give me a high five, more power to you. Like, that's awesome. But if you're gonna engage in building an agency, you better develop. Number one, what did we talk about last week? We talked about dealing with the crucible of adversity, right? And we talked about, one of the biggest things that you got to have if you're going to deal with adversity, and that's number one. You better have optimism, right? You better learn to think optimistically. You better know that as you work and you sow seeds, they're being knit together in the unseen long before the seen. You better have commitment to the process. Number four, you better understand structure. Okay, where does right people come from? In network marketing, all they tell you to do is go hire people. Well, like, that's throwing mud against the wall to see what sticks. I don't do that. Now, does that mean I don't have to go through people to find? No, I didn't say that either. But I also don't throw mud against the wall and see what sticks. Here's what I understand. Structure of your business produces the right people. Okay, what do I mean by structure? Well, I've got to learn how to develop width. I've got to learn how to hire people direct to me. And then as I develop the skill level of hiring people direct to me, I've got to then take my skill level and go down, and I've got to help them hire some people direct to them. Now, does that mean that I hire people and give it to them? No. In no form of society has welfare ever worked, and it will not work in your business. If your growth plan is for you to hire people and give them to other people to make managers, you will build your house on a sand, and I promise you, when the storm comes, you're done. You're done. And most of the time, the storm that comes, it comes because of what you created by hiring people and giving and making managers. You're making managers. Well, making managers, let me just tell you this, and I want to, because I could stay on that subject and probably rave and cuss for about 45 minutes. But the truth is that managers never lead people effectively. Okay, so you can't appoint a leader. You can appoint a manager, but that manager will never be respected by the people underneath them. They'll resent him and they'll resent you for doing it. And so when I talk about you taking your skill level and bringing it down to help them, what I'm talking about is, okay, do you have some warm market people that you would like to share the opportunity with? Yes or no? If you have a few warm market people, then I'm happy to help you talk to them. I'm happy. I'm so happy. We'll go grab a cup of coffee and we'll talk to a few people about the Equus opportunity. And if you think I'm really great at talking to people about Equus opportunity, I'm happy to talk to people on your behalf for you, okay? But why do I do that? Well, it's twofold. Number one, I want to help you create some success. And number two, it's part of me training you how to do it, because at some point in time, I'm not going to go talk to people about Equus for you. Okay, once I help you hire 2 or 3 people, it's kind of like once I show you how to go out there and write 2 or 3 applications, you need to go do that. You're not going to catch me training you how to write your 25th or 30th application. If you haven't learned by then, there's something wrong with the process, and it's not going in the direction that's favorable to you. And so when I hire somebody, I'm going to go down, and I'm more than glad to talk to a few of their friends and family about the Equus opportunity, in hopes that we can get a few of them excited, which kind of gets you up and going and gives you a shot to qualify for sales manager. So Gabe, as far as going sales manager, typically where do their people come from? Well, it comes from their warm market. If they don't have warm market, okay, well, it could come from, okay, I'm going to teach you how to go sell, which is largely, I'm going to teach you how to take a lead and make a dial. And I want you to dial these things. If you get like 40 of these C or B leads, I want you to sit down on a Saturday morning, and I want you to dial the phone 250 times. And however many people you talk to dialing the phone 250 times on those 40 people, I want you to just go through your phone script, and hopefully what you'll book out of that is at least 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 appointments, okay? Some people, they're able to pull that off. Some people, it takes them a lot more than 250 dials. But when you go talk to people, especially in the mortgage protection market, I think that you're always talking to somebody that could be a candidate. Doesn't matter how old they are, they could be a candidate to actually do some work with you, even if it's on a part-time basis. I've actually sold mortgage protection to some people in their 60s that I thought would have been great candidates for Equus Financial. So I've certainly hired people from the sales process, and that's I do think the sales process is probably the most underestimated, I guess is the right word. The most, no, it's not underestimated. You know what I'm talking about. It's the thing that people skip over most of the time, but it's a great place to actually find people that are ambitious and that would like to make some additional income, if not go full time. And so, so number one is sales manager. Okay, so what I was talking about a while ago, as far as throwing mud against the wall and see what sticks, nailing a 2x4 together. Those of you guys that have been with me a long time, you've heard this analogy a long time. But nailing a 2x4 together is an activity of building a house. Would you agree with that? In other words, if we're going to build a house, somewhere along the house, we're going to have to maybe hammer a 2x4 together or something like that. Okay. But do you guys, what's the likelihood that I'm going to end up with a house if I sit out and all I do all day long is nail 2x4s together? What's the likelihood after I nail 2x4s together for the next 2 or 3 or 4 weeks? What's the likelihood I'm actually going to end up magically, miraculously with a house? Well, not very likely. Why? Well, there's a lot more to building a house than hammering 2x4s together. Exactly. There's a lot more to building your agency and finding right people than just hiring people. Those people that all they do is ICA. Well, have you gotten your eyeballs in front of those people? Have you met them over a cup of coffee? Have you talked to them on the phone? Have you established any contact? Have you legitimized the Equus Financial opportunity to any of those people? Oh, no. Oh, no. I just figure if I ICA 1 million people, somebody's got to do it. Well, I guess, I mean, if that's your hiring plan, that you're going to go ICA 1 million people to find one person, I mean, like, I don't like for you to even represent Equus Finance. Now, listen, I know we've got an ICA and we've got to hire a bunch of people no matter what we do. But I will tell you that if you'll slow down just a little bit and you'll make sure that the quality of people that you're talking to, you'll make sure that number one, there's some quality there. Number two, there's some desire. The majority of people that come aboard my business team and they do the best, even in sales, they do so because their major desire is to actually build an agency and earn financial freedom for themselves and their family. That's the people that do the best. Well, John, does that mean you don't have the Andrew Pappases that come on board and go from making 40,000 to 100? No, not at all. Not at all. And do I want more of those people? Hey, how many can I get, right? How about part-timers that just come on board and go sell an app or two a month? Hey, how can I get 500 more of those part-timers to do that? You see what I'm saying? Like, I love those people. But ultimately, what I look for when I hire somebody is I look for somebody that is bell curve, meaning this. I look for somebody that is predominantly between the ages of 25 and 35. I look for married. I like them to have children. I like them to own a home. I like them to be healthy. In other words, do y'all start to see college educated would be number 6? Do y'all start to see that all of those qualities kind of stack up with what? Well, it stacks up with responsibility. In other words, these people are getting to a stage, if they haven't already gotten there, a stage of life where they feel the weight of the world. They feel responsibility in their life. And so they got to start thinking differently than the typical 18, 19, 20-year-old thinks about, hey, the most amazing thing I got to figure out this weekend is where we're going to go watch the game, So it's hard for me to, not that those people can't do it and not that people over 35 can't do it. It's just hard for me as I build a business. It's hard for me not to look at the average age of the person that I'm hiring, because I want to keep it consistent with the same bell curve that top Fortune 500 companies use when they hire their new up-and-coming studs and their middle management. So if you think that we're the only ones that talk about bell curve, you better think again. So where does right people come from? Well, as I create width, I'm going to find doorways that I can drop down into depth. And as I drop down into depth and I help Bob find Sam and Joe, and then I help Joe find Zach and Katie, and then I help Katie find Susan and Peter. See, through that process of me just helping people hire a few people, as I go 4 in depth, not width, but as I go 4 in depth, what I'm doing is I'm putting the odds in my favor that I'm going to find a Jamie Trent. I'm going to find an Andrew Pappas. I'm going to find a Tyler Bosch. I'm going to find a Daniel McRae. I'm going to find me a Chris Ward or Jimmy Pyron or Mark Jaunet out there. Do y'all understand that? Depth is typically where you find your right people. And so finding right people, it's not luck, it's not a lottery, it's structure, okay? So one thing that I want to encourage all of you guys to do is I want to encourage you to actually draw your organization out. And if you have a sheet of paper, like this is my activity tracker, if you have a sheet of paper, I want you to draw out from strongest to weakest. So in other words, if this is me, I'm going to draw out from strongest, and I'm going to start putting my regional managers right here, and I'm going to draw out to weakest. That's how I'm going to draw my organization. So I'm encouraging you guys that if you're going to grow, through the process to learn to draw out your organization. If you don't know how to draw out your organization, we can definitely take some time before we jump off and do that. Okay, so 4 steps. Okay, 4 steps. And I know we covered this a few weeks ago. That was probably a few months ago. But I really want you to understand me, and I really want you to ask questions. Okay, and I'll pause just a second. And I'll answer a couple questions, but number 1 is sales manager. That's the fundamental building block. Number 2 is district manager. So sales manager, you have 3 writing agents. District manager, you have 7 writing agents. But district manager, guys, it's just kind of a step along the way, right? Why? Because where are you going? Where you're going to regional manager, where you have 10 writing agents. But like I mentioned on the phone call today with the regional managers, when you qualify a regional manager with 10 writing agents, that's actually a very dangerous place to stop and celebrate. That's a dangerous place to kind of take your breath and say, oh, I'm a qualified regional manager. That's awesome. Well, if you have 10 writing agents and you need 10 writing agents to qualify every month because you want to earn your regional manager bonus check every month, I would definitely whisper in your ear to not rest yet. In other words, keep the momentum going and get you 12 to 15 solid writing agents on a weekly basis. Okay, solid. Like, these are writers. These are people on your team that are excited. These are people on your team that are growth oriented. Because until you develop 12 to 15 writers, 10 will never be stabilized. Okay, so number 1, sales manager. Number 2, district manager. Number 3, regional manager. I'm gonna pause right there and see if I have any questions. John, can you break down your month? And you get a district manager and keep the momentum. Yes, John, and basically what he's asking is can you break down your month as far as to get to district manager and to keep the momentum going, growing to regional manager right after? Was it constant contact with, constant contact, team rally, monitoring each unique writer? Man, that is a great question. I will tell you this. I would caution everybody against rallying around. Like, hey, let's rally around to get me to a level. I think that's playing Russian roulette with your team. I feel like for the most part, and to answer the question there, I feel like most part, if you're doing what you need to be doing as a leader, and most of what I'm talking about right now, in addition to your personal sales, because you have to manage your cash flow, in addition to your personal sales, you should be from sales manager to district manager to regional manager. I'm just telling you, there's only one word you need to focus on. That's width, not depth. You're most likely nowhere near where you need to be as far as to actually start driving depth. Okay, you can basically qualify. Again, Barry dropped the totals. Used to be back in the old days, right? Equus is 3.5 years old. Back in the old days, it took 15 qualified writers to go regional manager. Well, the cool thing The smart thing actually was that somebody that had 15 qualified unique writers typically had a good 11 or 12 writers that they can count on a monthly basis. So that's why I told you guys a while ago that when you qualify a regional manager, you better not take a breath. You better get your writing agents to 12 or 15 because that's how you're going to solidify 10. So number one, I don't want to rally my team. Number two, I do want to make sure I'm giving individual attention to the writing agents, helping each agent. Because again, I mean, guys, my organization is not too big at that point for me not to make personal phone calls throughout my organization. I mean, let's face it, guys, if you're a sales manager or district manager or even regional manager, you got 10, 12 writing agents. I think that we should expect for you to have a personal contact, a personal relationship with each one of those 12. I mean, that's not too much to ask, is it? And so basically how I would qualify as a regional manager is I would constantly encourage those people to reach for their dreams and goals. I don't want them rallying around me. I want them rallying around their why and their families. I also want to make it very clear that I'm here to help not only on the sales side, but I'm here to help on the agency building side. You see, guys, I really don't want to even bring this up because it would take me too long to really go through the thought process. But people's team tends to reflect their leader and how their leader's shown the Equus opportunity. In other words, if all I'm showing is the Equus sales opportunity, like, hey, make $500 a sale. You want to get started? Make $500 a sale. Make $500 a sale. Make $500 a sale. You want to get started? Hey, I got Equus Financial. I got a lead-driven sales. I make $500 a sale. Well, Barry called me up one day, pulling his hair out because I mean it's just like what in the world? Well, see, if that's the way you build your team, and when you get to 10 writing agents and you're the only one building, well, there's a reason for that. Like, don't get frustrated at that. Dude, you hired 10, 15 people that all they're interested in is what you told them, which is they just gonna go make $500 a sale. So don't get frustrated that team is now not duplicating your B quadrant efforts. So when I share the opportunity, I share the business building, the agency building, the creating distribution, building outlets opportunity, so that when I hire you, when I mention to you that, hey, I'm more than happy to go to your apartment, your townhouse, or your home, and I'm more than happy to share the opportunity with a couple of your friends. See, that's not foreign to you. Like that's not like, where did that come from, man? You talked to me about personal sales and leads, and now you want to talk to my friends? Like, what's that all about? See, so how you share the Equus opportunity ends up developing what your team's going to look like. Let's see here. What do you mean rally your team? Okay. What do I mean by rallying my team? Okay. So if I had 8 or 9 or 7 or, well, let's just say this. If I had about 6 or 7 good quality writing agents, but possibly we can dig out. Like, guys, if we work hard, we can dig out. We can go make Joe write an application, at least one application, because that'll be a qualified, and we can go get this guy. In other words, let's rally around getting me to regional manager. That I don't like that. See, to me, that is self-serving leadership. Now, how can I justify it? Well, if you help me, I help you. No, like we're not in third grade anymore. Okay, we're not in third grade anymore. See, and I hopefully, Kevin, will you please just shoot me a text or give me a thing on there where if I answered, am I saying that there should never be a team that comes together and rallies around the team to make something special happen? No, I'm not saying that. There are cases where that's happened, and I think it's made the team stronger. It's just never started with the upline. If your downline gets together and they want to help you get to a certain level, and they rally each other around that, and yes, you're appreciative, and you stay serving to them, not self-serving, then that's a beautiful thing. If that happens, that's actually a beautiful thing. But for a leader to go try to rally his team around the leader's goal, not so much. Did I answer that? Are you guys? Gotcha. I ain't interested in that kind of activity. Would never date that. Yep. Thank you so much. And absolutely. And here's the thing. I don't think we have a problem with that. I'm just like, I have seen that happen in other organizations, and it looks good. It smells good for a little while, and then it hardly ever ends up good. And that's the most nicest way that I can say really what it's like. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. It doesn't have the long-term effect that you want it to have. So before I close out talking about this number 4 step, let me recap. Number 1, you better have desire to build a business. Guys, do y'all understand that? Desire for B quadrant growth. If you desire B quadrant growth, you'll get B quadrant growth. But if you don't really desire B quadrant growth, but you just maybe hire somebody every now and then because you think that's what you're supposed to do to stay in good graces, no, that's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. As a matter of fact, people that want to build an agency and qualify for the equity bonus, I would never tell that person to spend more time in the field than what they needed to. Y'all, man, like, I feel like I need to pause right there. I don't know why. It's just my spirit telling me to pause and just to say that again. If I've got somebody that really wants to build an agency, then the thought process that they need to understand is that selling insurance is their job. That's their job. But building their agency is their life. And so if you go out and you sell enough to produce the amount of money that you need to make for that particular week, and then you take and you shut down your Equus job, and you devote the rest of the week to building your Equus business, like I think that's probably one of the most smartest, mature business decisions that you can make. Oh, so John, wait a minute now. But if all I need to do is go out there and write 5, 6, 7 applications, and I can do that on Monday or Tuesday, you mean to tell me that my job's not to go out there and write 30 applications? No, not if you want to build an agency. I mean, if you want to go compete against Brandon Hall and you want to go out there and you want to write business and you want to, I'm just saying this, guys, and please hear me when I say this. This is going to be really good. To succeed at anything, you have to manage your energy. And I'll tell you this, for most people that go out there and sell 15, 20 applications a week, which they're bad to the bone, I'm just going to tell you, I don't think there's a heck of a lot of energy left for them to go out there and build anything. Do y'all understand that? I mean, that to me is second nature, but for some people, that's like foreign. That's like a foreign language. So, John, what you just said was this. Let me see if I understand it. What you just said was that for people that haven't earned their way out of the field, they have to, the smartest thing that they can do and the most mature thing they can do is figure out how to manage their energy level. Yes, that's exactly what I said. So I take a certain part of my energy and I put it toward my field work. Why? Well, because right now, based on how we've structured our business, and I'm more than happy to share that with people that ask, the way we've structured our business, it's still a good thing when I can go out there and I can bring in net, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 on a weekly basis. Now, that's not, I wouldn't consider that a full week's worth of work in the field, okay? I feel like I can do that most weeks working just a day or two or maybe a half a day in the field. And so, but I have to manage my energy level because I know for me, if I go out in the field a good 3 days, a fourth day in the field, and all of a sudden now, where's my energy level? Well, I'm excited now to go build an agency. I'm not. I don't know about you, but I'm not. I'm ready to go home and crash for 24 hours. Are you kidding me? Okay, manage your energy level. Desire is everything. Okay, desire is everything. Work ethic, commitment to the process, understand structure, understand drawing your organization out. Okay, so we grow from sales manager to district manager to regional manager. By the way, Gabe, to go back and specifically try to answer your question, you've got two major fields that make up all the people in the world. You've got warm market, which are the people that you know, and then you've got everybody else that unfortunately is in cold market. It means you don't know them. Out of these two major areas, you've got licensed and unlicensed people. I do like to hire the right licensed person. Okay, I don't need to say that again. Y'all understand that. I do like to hire the right licensed person, but it's no substitute for me and how excited I get when I hire the dream-driven individual. Whether they're licensed or unlicensed does not matter. I'm looking for a dream-driven individual. Dream-driven, not sales-driven, not job-driven, but dream-driven. And when I talk about passive income, they can't stand it. And they go back home and they go to sleep and they see circles all over their house. And they can't stand it because what they know is that if I can just find 10, 15 people to go write insurance and help families, as a regional manager at Equus Financial, I'm going to be making $250,000 a year. Are you kidding me? 25, 30, 35-year-old making $250,000 a year in their own business, and they've got them a good little agency growing. Are you kidding me? See, I'm looking for that dream-driven person. So, Gabe, whether you dive into cold market, whether you dive in, I love warm market. Okay, instead of me investing $2,000, $3,000, $1,000 a month on ZipRecruiter, which I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm just saying that the money that I've spent in cold market recruiting, it has not generated the results, but it's also not generated the excitement in me. In other words, when I wake up on a Monday and I've got 15 people that signed up to have an interview with me, and I don't even know what they look like, that doesn't motivate me. Now, I will tell you, there are some people at Equus Financial that do that very well, and they're bad to the bone. Pete Beckman's bad to the bone. Nick and Cindy Theodore's bad to the bone. Ollie Collins, they're all bad to the bone at cold market recruiting. So if you think that may be something that interests you, then you need to gravitate and you need to figure out, ask questions and figure out, hey, what do you do in the process and how can I duplicate that? But for me, again, it's just not my physical makeup. I would rather, and I know I'm going to give people chills on here. I know I'm going to make people hang up from the Zoom meeting, by saying this, but I'd actually rather go out and meet people. I'd rather go to a coffee shop and have a conversation with a stranger that looked like somebody that I want to do business with. In other words, they look really sharp. I'm like, wow, that person looks like Daniel McCrae. Wow, that person looks like Stanley Smith. Wow, that person looks like Claudia Matthew. Wow, that person, man, reminds me so much of Matt Dixon. Wow. And so I get excited about talking to them because I see visually, hey, that's the type of person that I want representing my business. So cold market or warm market, Gabe, it doesn't matter. You just need to figure out which kind of lines up more with your physical makeup, okay? So hopefully that answers your very good question. So once you qualify regional manager, the last thing I said was that basically starting out at 0 and going sales manager, district manager, and regional manager, it's all based on width. It's all based on you hired 4 or 5 people to go sales manager. So hire 4 or 5 people again to go district manager. Put in another batch of 4, 5, 6, 7 people and qualify regional manager. In other words, you've done that basically in width. Now comes a very interesting part of your business. You're now a qualified regional manager, Mike Hall, Ollie Collins, Daniel McCrae, Claudia Matthew. You're now a qualified regional manager. What's your next step? What's your next step? Well, if you're really smart, you'll say, go sales manager again. There you go. There you go. That's very smart. But if we talked about more from a macro standpoint, okay, going sales manager a couple of more times, yeah, I understand that's a strategy to get to the next level, but what is actually the next level? Once you qualify a regional manager, what's the next level? Write this down. This is number 4, double regional manager. So double regional manager, in my opinion, it sets you up to start qualifying for first tier equity bonus. Because when you get 20 to 25 qualified writing agents on a weekly basis, you're running 20, 25 qualified writing agents. You don't have any problems getting 25, 30, 35, 40 writing agents on a monthly basis. Y'all do understand that you get a lot more monthly writers than you do weekly. But in my opinion, once you get up where you have 20, 25 writers on a weekly basis, which is basically doubling your regional managership, it's real hard for you not to pay $200,000 a month, which qualifies you for first tier equity bonus. And I'm just telling you, if I were you guys out there, I would be so excited Like I would make that my life's work. I would not be afraid to put things on the back burner for just a little while in order for me to go out there and build that type of structure, because the rewards that will come to you for doing that, it will be phenomenal. I mean, I want you to think about it. Not only your personal pen income, not only your override income, but now you're getting a distribution check off of every single issue paid application at Equus Financial. Again, which last month, that first tier equity bonus was what, 9,000 something? Think about that, guys, $9,000, even if it was that low, which based on what Barry said, August sucked from a production standpoint. We had a conference 1st of August, kids started back school. August was just one of those months that's just not, historically, it's just not a great month. So the equity bonus paid out based on the new percentage payout, which is higher, it paid a little bit over $9,000. So this month, again, based on September being a pretty good production month, that first tier equity bonus is looking to pay over $12,000. Guys, I think I would fight for that. I mean, if you're B quadrant oriented, if you're S quadrant oriented, it really doesn't matter how much the equity bonus is. You're never going to discipline yourself to go do what you need to do in order to build your business. It might be a good idea, and I'm not saying that you won't head fake some people and that, yeah, I'm gonna build a team, I'm gonna go regional manager. But really, if your goal every single week is just to go out there and see how many families you can help, and that's how you manage your energy level, well, then, I mean, like, I get it. I just want you to know that I get it. Like we can't do anything more, and it's not smart to try to do anything more, especially long term, that's outside of the energy level that we have. Now, I'm going to say this for all of you young people out there: as you get older, you better become a lot more smarter at managing your energy level, because I will tell you that, you know, the energy level of most 50, 55-year-olds, it's not the same as 25, 30-year-olds. You know, to make $200,000 a year and to protect 176 families, I've got to go out there and put about 60, 65,000 miles a year on my car. Do you guys understand that is the energy level that I managed my first 2 years at Equus was 99.9% in the field. I was not trying to build, like, I was definitely not trying to build with brand new agents. I was definitely not looking to hire people that I had to help. Definitely not that. Because I would not have had the energy level to do much of that. Okay. So, is there any questions out there? I want to make sure that tonight was good. That's a fact, Jack. Kevin Hopkins, thanks for the confirmation. Any other questions? I'm going to look at my phone here. Okay. I don't see any text, so let me just make sure. Okay. Manage energy level. It's go time. Operation Vertical Move is on at Equus Financial. For those of you guys that want to build a business, you better figure out how to start managing and putting some energy toward activities in building your business. How many interviews are you doing on a weekly basis? Are those interviews cold market or warm market? Don't be confused there. Pick a lane and go. Like, well, I try to do it all. Well, I think trying to do it all is tough. Okay, I think, you know, that's what I think. I think at some point in time you better figure out, am I going to go out and build my business warm market or cold market? Okay. Because again, I think the whole physical makeup of somebody that succeeds cold market and warm market, I think it's very different. I think it's very different. So, okay, well, no questions, guys. Thanks for plugging in tonight. And one of the things that I'm gonna put on GroupMe is whether this Zoom meeting is worth it. You know, we've done Zooms now since this past, I think probably since last fall, maybe throughout all winter, or maybe we started in the winter, I think. But you know, I don't think we're getting a lot of mileage out of the Zoom. I think that on Monday nights for the opportunity meeting and the Zoom meeting or the builders meeting, I think that it would be just as good. I think maybe even some of you guys would like it better if we just went to a conference line. So if you don't mind, if you're plugged in, maybe even type on GroupMe or either send me a private text and just let me know. I mean, because the thing about it is I don't want to ix the Zoom. It's definitely a lot more inconvenient to do a Zoom. And if we're getting mileage out of the Zoom, then I want to keep doing it. But if we're not getting the mileage out of the Zoom, then again, I just as soon do the conference line, because if I'm on the road like I was last week, I didn't have to pull over to Waffle House parking lot to set up the Zoom. I could just, you know, keep on booking down the road and just do a conference call. Mortgage protection versus final expense. Should it be one or the other? Well, no, Carlos, I think, you know, if you want to pick, if you want to dedicate to one or the other, I think that's great. But there's a whole lot of people that you would probably serve yourself really good if you just learned both and went out there and became a dual agent. I think final expense complements mortgage protection and vice versa. I think they complement each other very, very well. Is there any particular industry that you have the best luck recruiting from? Great question, Carlos. Is there any particular industry that you have the best luck recruiting from? Well, to me, man, you know, I love blue collar people. I love school teachers. I love talking to high school coaches or junior high coaches. I love talking to those winners that really don't know they're winners yet. You know, in other words, I'm not looking to go out there and hire doctors, lawyers, and dentists. If I hired a doctor, great. But I'm looking for people that are trying to make it. You know, I'm looking for people that have a big dream. I'm looking for people that really, you know, like, man, they love to think that at some point in time in their life they could make some money and they can be somebody. And so whether it's a school teacher, that's a fireman, that's a high school or junior high, you know, or elementary school football coach or baseball, basketball coach or any type of coach, or, you know, somebody service oriented, school teachers, you know, things like that. Those are the people that I love talking to, because I know this. I know their professions do not historically pay very well. And so you will find a lot of ambitious people there. But no, I can't really single out a certain industry. I just try to talk to everybody that I see that's sharp. You know, me being warm market, I go out in the marketplace. I live my life. You know, if Kim and I go to dinner, you know, I'm always kind of looking around like, hey, you know, who's really sharp in here? And will I try to position myself to say hey to them or to possibly engage in a conversation with them? Absolutely, I will. Maybe it's a waiter or waitress that's giving us great service. I love mentioning to them that I own a business and just, you know, hey, listen, I actually got an email today. This was pretty cool. So we had in our garage before we bought this house and moved. We had a washer and dryer in our garage forever, and we sold it to the sharpest guys. Matter of fact, Kim's in the next room. This guy was so sharp, so ambitious. I think he worked 2 or 3 different jobs, and he's got a couple of kids, and he just mentioned his wife and about how his wife was looking for the right thing when the kids went back to school. And so I actually just got an email from her today at 1:37. Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Kight. My name is Kayla. My husband, Andre, picked up your washer and dryer a few months ago. I'm interested in the position you have available at Equus Financial. So, see, that's just what I do, Warren Market. I just sow seed, and those seeds come up. So hopefully that helps out there. Let's just see any more questions. By the way, guys, y'all rock. We had some really good participation tonight, so hopefully it all helped. And we're just going to wrap up. Golly, it's already 10:30. Wow, I'm sorry about that. Going so over. God bless you guys. Kick some butt this week. Bye-bye.